you have a child that was diagnosed with ADHD, or you think your child has ADHD, this is the 5-Minute Spirit Reboot for you. Joining me today in the studio is Dr. Connie McReynolds, the #1 bestseller she wrote called Solving the ADHD Riddle, The Real Cause and Lasting Solutions to Your Child's Struggle to Learn. Welcome, Dr. McReynolds.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today.
It's our pleasure. So tell us, what is ADHD?
Well, it's a lot of things to a lot of different people. So very quickly, it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. But part of the problem with that diagnosis is it's almost a catch-all for almost any negative behavior that we see in children, in school and at home, that's repetitive, that's frustrating. And so we just end up with so many children diagnosed with this. I do think there's a reason for the uptick, and there's probably a lot of reasons for that. But primarily what I've really uncovered is that there's something else going on for at least a percentage of these children.
I'm with you, because there's a lot of doctors right now and psychologists, administrators, teachers that you say, and parents as well, who are not really going for the root problem. What is the root problem, Dr. McReynolds?
What I've discovered over 15 years in my clinic is that underneath these diagnostic labels, it can be ADD, ADHD, it can be anxiety, it can be trauma, it can be Tourette syndrome, it can be a whole long list of these diagnosed conditions. And underneath almost every one of those, what I have uncovered are these auditory and visual processing problems that I think look a lot like ADHD. But when we don't get the root cause correct, the intervention that we employ probably isn't going to have the best outcome.
That leads me to my next question. What are the signs that would identify somebody with ADHD?
Well, so we're looking at this from a different perspective, because more along the lines of the traditional approach, the solution is to get rid of the behaviors. My idea is, let's understand what the behaviors are trying to tell us, and then let's see what that means. And so for children who have ADHD, they may have either auditory or visual processing problems, or a combination of both. In some cases, they don't have any processing. And these children are very frequently tracked into different categories of services because they can't learn in general education. So for an example, an auditory processing child might look like a child who can't follow instructions. You give multi-step instructions, they do one or two of them. Maybe they can't remember it. Maybe they seem to drift off when you're talking with them, not paying attention. Visual processing.
Wait a minute, isn't that with every kid? Okay, I mean, and I'm saying that as a mom, so.
Well, there are some trends. It's the level of this that we're experiencing, because a lot of children tune out the parents because they don't want to follow through.
Yes.
There's a difference here. These are the children who become frustrated. You might see them withdrawing. You might see them acting out. So there's a little more behavior that goes along with children who have this. And for visual processing, maybe this is the child who can't remember where they put something, laid down the keys to the house, don't know where they went, can't find the shoes, lost the backpack, lost the homework, looked inside the bag.
I'm only laughing because I get it. Okay. You've given me a lot to think about. Thank you for sharing with those details. What do you think is the big takeaway here for parents right now who think they're in this camp or are put in this camp with children?
What I really want people to know is there's a different narrative that can be told about this. So many times people are told, well, it's either behavioral interventions or it's medication.
Right.
There's another storyline now. It's that we can actually get to the root cause of what's going on. We're not masking over the symptoms. And here's an important point. If the behavioral interventions aren't working, that could be also a sign of auditory processing problems. Because if I'm explaining to a child what they're supposed to do differently, but that child can't hang on to it, that isn't the right intervention, because that child is not able to remember what it is that they're supposed to do. And with that, everyone feels like they're failing. And with this system, we figure out what the root cause is, and everyone wins.
It's fantastic. Thank you. My daughter teaches actually children and talks about these experiences. So she's going to love even this takeaway. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with our audience today. It's been a pleasure. Where can people find you and the book?
Absolutely. At my website, which is ConnieMcReynolds.com.
Thank you. And if you like this episode and you want more, please subscribe to the podcast, Radio Medium Laura Lee Show. And thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you.